Is this the wildlife Hang has always dreamed of? Owning a small log cabin deep in the backwoods. If he wants better food, he hunts bighorn sheep. He sets traps for ground squirrels to get by. He builds a raised storage shed to keep out thieving grizzlies. With his own two hands, he turns the land into a working homestead. A year ago in Alaska, Morgan bought another piece of land. He spent big money on lumber to build the cabin, then used the rest of his savings to buy 4 horses. They hauled logs when he built the house, but now they feel more like a burden. They eat too much. The feed bill is crushing him. Barley, corn, and oats are airdropped in. Nutritious, but not cheap. His current supply will only last 2 weeks. He has to find another way. Letting them graze would be best. But winter has hit Alaska. The ground is buried in snow. Morgan plans to head along the south slope and see if any grass is exposed. He brings a rifle and his dog. The dog is a mix, shepherd and sled dog, cold-proof and fiercely loyal, his most trusted partner out here. They walk and search. Minutes pass, the sky darkens, time is running out. Morgan pushes through knee-deep snow. The big dog stays close. The view is stunning, but he can't enjoy it. Wind starts whipping through the valley. A snowstorm is coming. The cold cuts into their faces. Man and dog fight forward. After searching everywhere, he finds one tiny blade of grass, the first one he's seen all day. That's proof there's no real pasture here. He has to turn back. The failed trip weighs on him. By the time he reaches camp, the storm eases. Time to feed the horses again. He cuts their rations, trying to stretch it a few more days. Back inside, he lights a fire and sips hot tea, thinking hard. No matter how tough it gets, he won't give up on those animals. The next day, the horses look worse. They paw through snow, desperate for food. And seeing that breaks his heart, so he heads out again with the dog. Last year, life had just started improving. Now, extreme weather is pushing him to the edge. He decides to follow the river. Walking in deep snow burns triple the calories. He keeps falling into hidden holes. It's brutal. After a long grind, he finally reaches the riverbank. Aspen trees catch his eye. Native tribes once cut aspen to feed horses in winter. Out of options, he decides to try. He starts sawing into a trunk. Crack, the wood splits. He jumps back fast. The tree hangs up, caught in another. And so he cuts a smaller tree to push it free. With effort, the big tree finally crashes down. The whole job is slow, careful, and controlled. He chops the branches, hoping the horses will eat them. He ties the bundles and hauls them home. When he returns, the black horse looks up. He's not empty-handed. Maybe tonight, they finally get a real meal. The black horse takes a cautious bite. It snaps off a twig and starts chewing, slow. Morgan watches closely, tense. If this one eats it, the others probably will too. He brings over a brown horse to test it. One bite, and it keeps chewing. Seems to like it. Morgan smiles, relieved. If they'll eat branches, he can make this work. There's plenty of aspen around here. Still, he needs to watch their health and digestion. He pets the dog, looking at the peaceful scene. Sometimes that's all happiness is. Horse feed, solved. Now he needs food for himself and the dog. For weeks, no big game, so he turns to birds. Hard work has worn him down. He needs fresh meat. Up ahead, a small creek. Brush lines the banks. Birds like spots like this. He moves along the edge. Feathers snagged on a bush. Ptarmigan tracks. He knows the sign. One bird gives about 21 grams of protein. Tender meat. A rare treat out here. Hope fires him up. The dog works the brush, nose down. Morgan scans the area, alert. Suddenly the dog barks. Sharp, a signal. Morgan follows fast. The dog sprints ahead. When he arrives, he can't believe it. An abandoned hunting camp. He thought he was alone out here. Looks like someone lived here 15 years ago. He decides to check for anything useful. Under a nearby tree, he finds shovels and saws, still in good shape. He leaves them and keeps searching. A metal chest sticks out of the snow, mostly buried. He digs it out, clears the lid, tries to open it. Frozen shut. He taps the edge with an axe, then pries it open. It feels like opening a prize box. He grins at what's inside. Pots and pans, candles, silverware, and a backpack at the bottom. Inside, animal traps. Now that's real treasure. Until now, he's lived on dried food and fruit. Each supply run lasts about 11 days. With traps, he can hunt small game. That could change everything. Maybe the old owner will return someday, so Morgan leaves a note with his location. Then he heads home with the pack. Back at the cabin, he hangs the traps on the wall. They're solid. Hope returns. He's survived 6 weeks of winter on nuts and 5 cups of grain. Now supplies are almost gone. The traps are his last shot. He's never used one before. First, he needs to understand how it works. It's a body grip trap. When an animal reaches in for bait, it snaps shut with brutal force, strong enough to kill fast. Bigger ones can take otters or even lynx. One mistake can crush your arm. Morgan studies it carefully and uses a cord to open it safely. Now he's ready to move out. This time, he leaves the dog behind. The trap site is about 6 kilometers from the cabin. In the woods, he picks a small tree, cuts the branches, and makes a stake. He props it up on another tree and wires it tight. He's not experienced, but he's seen others do it, so he copies them. He mounts the trap on the stake, then adds a bit of fish for bait. He ties a small tuft of feathers to a branch so it flutters in the wind and draws attention. His first bird trap is set. He builds 3 more the same way. By the time he's done, yes, a lot of time has passed. Not far away is a small creek, a place where he's seen otter sign before. One catch could solve food for a while, and it tastes great too. He pulls out the larger body grip trap and measures the spot. Placement is everything. Then he sets the trap. He stuffs in fresh aspen sticks for bait, because beavers love it. He wires the trap to a tree and anchors it underwater. Beaver trap, done. Then he sets another one. As he places the second trap, he slips and drops into the water. He fights like hell, cursing, and claws back onto the bank, shaking uncontrollably. He has to warm up, fast. If he gets frostbite and his core temp drops, it can kill him. He shelters under a big tree and builds a fire, keeps feeding it until it's roaring. Then he strips off his socks and works feeling back into his feet. That night, he has to sleep right there. Next morning, Morgan wakes up, eats a little dry food, and kills the fire with snow. Then he heads back, checking yesterday's traps on the way. But at the creek, the water has frozen over again. He chops through the ice with his axe, lifts the stake, empty. That hits hard. He checks the next spot, still nothing under the ice. Hopelessness creeps in. He drags himself toward home, step by heavy step. No food means this winter will be hell, and the bad luck keeps coming. His first bird trap is wrecked. The bird likely stole the bait and got away. He resets it and moves to the next one. Then, finally, luck turns. He shouts with joy. The trap caught a marten. After the storm, the sky breaks open. Its fur is thick, soft, and beautiful. One marten won't change everything, but it's a strong start. On the way home, he's fired up. And good things come in pairs. The next trap catches an otter, too. Morgan is ecstatic. He feels closer than ever to being a real trapper. He hauls his catch and heads out, already tasting that meat in his head. Since moving here last year, he's been hit with one surprise challenge after another. This hard life nearly broke him. But now, a spark of hope shows up. The dog runs out to greet him the second he's back. Morgan drops his pack, and the dog catches that strange new smell. One marten can give him about 4 pounds of meat. He sharpens his knife to a razor edge, cuts a ring around the marten's ankles, then starts skinning, clean and steady. The dog leans in, curious. Before long, the pelt comes off in one smooth piece. Soft fur, good for a hat or gloves. But right now, he needs dinner. Out here, it's eat today or starve tomorrow. He has to find a long-term way to live. Food at home is down to 2 days. So Morgan decides to take a big risk. He pushes deep into Alaska's mountains, where bighorn sheep live. High peaks, steep ground. Hunting them is like walking into fire. But for survival, it's his only option. After a few hours, he reaches the base. Ahead is bighorn territory. He glasses the slopes with binoculars. No protein in sight. As he searches hard. Finally, 2 sheep on a ridgeline. He maps the route, leaves the snowmobile, and starts climbing with his pack. The mountain rises to about 5,500 feet, straight up. Not even a third of the way, he's wrecked. Every muscle burning. He grits his teeth and keeps moving. 2 hours later, he hits a ledge by a big boulder. He watches again, a clearer view now, and the herd is up to 6. That sight gives him a second wind. Another hour passes. The last ridge is close, but he's gasping, drained. Only the thought of sheep meat keeps him going. He straps on traction boots. Now it gets deadly. One slip and he's done. He drops his pack, goes light. He only gets one chance. If he misses, the herd scatters and he'll never catch them. He claws his way to the top and freezes. The sheep are gone. The disappointment hits hard. He stands there a long time, searching for sign. But fate isn't with him today. Night drops fast. He hikes 3 miles back to the snowmobile, completely spent. All he wants is sleep. He crawls into his bag and passes out. Next morning, the sun clears the peaks. Morgan starts again. He feels awful. But he won't quit. He climbs onto a rock to scout, and luck shows up. He spots a few sheep. Energy floods back into him. He starts climbing again. After a long push, he finally closes in. A bighorn is grazing, calm and unaware. Morgan raises the rifle slow and quiet. Right as he's about to squeeze the trigger, the sheep bolts. To alert. The chance is gone. He signals the cameraman to stay hidden and waits for the herd to settle. Morgan raises the rifle again. 6 sheep in view, 2 are young. He picks an adult. The moment it stops, he fires. Bad news, it doesn't drop instantly. The bighorn crashes to the ground, thrashing in pain, still alert. Morgan fires a follow-up shot, but the range is long. He still doesn't hit a vital spot. He has to rush in fast. Just like they say, climbing up is easy. Getting down is the hard part. He runs hard, forcing his way forward. When he gets close, the sheep is already dead. By the horns, it looks about 9 years old, right at its best, tender and juicy. Morgan pulls a small knife and starts butchering. Nothing like dry, tough meat. This lamb is rich and clean, hard to stop eating. He swallows, starving just from the smell. After gutting it, he packs the meat and starts down the mountain. By sunset, he reaches the base. He's running on empty now. Not long after, night falls fully. He finally finds his snowmobile. Morgan drops to the ground to catch his breath, then builds a campfire. He skins the sheep and cuts a few fatty pieces, skewers them on sticks. Quick backcountry BBQ. His mood lifts instantly. That one fat sheep could keep him alive for 3 more months. The smell spreads, meat sizzling right in front of him. He finally feels human again. He tears off a big bite and digs in. Rich aroma, zero funk. Every chew lights up his taste buds. This is the food he's been dreaming about. Happiness hits him deep. If he had a bottle of good liquor, he'd drink it and celebrate hard. After some time, Alaska rolls into February. Weird weather brings an early spring. That doesn't just make the meat spoil faster, it also means hungry grizzlies are waking up. Right after hibernation, they're mean. They'll follow the smell of blood straight to camp. Then it's not just the meat at risk. The horses could be in danger too. So Morgan hangs a bell on each horse so he can hear trouble from far off. To protect the sheep meat, he plans to build a raised hanging cache. Step 1, gather enough timber. He's got leftover logs from last year's cabin build. He ties a rope to a horse and gives the signal. The black horse bolts, dragging the log. It speeds up and yanks Morgan off his feet. The other horses panic too and scatter. Morgan limps after them. The black horse finally stops at camp. He checks it over. Maybe there's grizzly scent in the air. It can make horses jumpy. They get worked up fast. The black horse is fine, but Morgan's calf is scraped up. He wraps it quickly and doesn't rest. He gets right back to work. He picks a big spruce, strong enough to be the main post. He sets a ladder. Spice then starts clearing branches. Once the trunk is stripped bare, he saws off the top section. Now he can start building the cache frame. Right then, a small bird lands on the stump. Morgan takes it as a good sign. He mills the wood into planks, then nails them tight to the trunk. First, he builds a solid support base. Then, he lays planks on top for the floor, strong enough to sit on and work without worry. Next, he slides a plank into the notch, then hoists up a plank wall to form one side of the frame. He repeats the same steps to build the 2 side walls. After that, he adds a sloped roof. Last step, a big door for the wooden box. Once the latch bar is set, the hanging cache is finished. Morgan slowly hauls the sheep meat up high. He climbs up, adjusts the load, then uses a long stick to shut the door from outside. From now on, grizzlies can't steal his meat. With the back end secured, he can focus on daily survival again. He keeps feeding the horses branches. It's the best feed he can find right now. Lucky they're Icelandic horses. Calm and steady. A hotter breed would have bolted long ago because who can live on twigs every day? Morgan checks their hooves and sees they're worn down bad. If he doesn't fix them, they won't travel far. He pulls out a pro hoof trimming kit and lifts the black horse's front leg onto a stump. First, he files the hoof, then he uses nippers to cut the extra growth. He keeps filing until the cracks are gone, then moves to the back legs. Suddenly, a sharp whinny sounds nearby. One of the horses is in trouble. Morgan runs over to free the rope, but the black horse thrashes hard. He can't get close enough, so he pulls his knife and cuts the rope. The black horse is free instantly. Morgan checks it over, no injuries, then goes back to work. For horses, hoof care is non-negotiable. Good thing Morgan worked at a horse ranch for 15 years. This job is second nature to him. Soon he's fixed 4 more hooves. Next is the brown mare. She hates anyone touching her back legs. Morgan moves carefully, trying not to spook her, but it doesn't go as planned. She fights the position and lashes out. One hard kick drops Morgan to the ground. Pain flashes across his face. He gets up and warns her, firm, then tightens the tie down. This time he doesn't rush. He gently squeezes her calf. Annoyed, she lifts her leg without thinking. Morgan uses the moment to trim the hoof. The young horse starts to feel it's not so bad and calms down. After that, no more trouble. Morgan finishes every hoof. As life settles into a steady rhythm, he dreams of turning this place into a real working ranch. So he pushes harder than ever, day after day. A raging American bison charges the hunter. The man stays calm, aims, and fires. The massive beast drops. The meat is cut up, food for the next 6 months. After tanning, the hide can sell for up to $1,000. When he has time, he also sets beaver traps. That's the simple life in the mountain valleys of the Yauk River in Montana. When Tom turns 73, his health declines. 2 seasons ago, a bad harvest put him in the red. To change things, he decides to take on an apprentice. Shin, 35, is a local from the Yauk Valley. Tom watched him grow up, so he knows him well. Shin feels honored. Tom is a well-known hunter, his skills admired by everyone around, so Shin commits to learning for real. After that, the two ride snowmobiles out to a spot set up with eagle traps. They pack rotten beaver meat in a box as bait. Even if you don't see an eagle, the smell carries far. Compared to leaving it in the open, this setup tricks the bird more easily. They secure the box to a board and set a trap at the opening. When the greedy eagle touches the trigger, the snare tightens on its neck. No escape. Next, Tom takes a strip of caribou hide and hangs it under the box. He drips fish oil on it, then lights it with a flame. The smell of burning hide mixed with fish oil travels a long way. When an eagle follows that scent in, it walks into a kill zone, the next trap. More Tom lets Shin set the trap himself, guiding him step by step. The young guy is skilled, and Tom is pleased. After that, Tom teaches him hide tanning. They pull out 2 frozen deer heads to get what they need. Tom saws into the skull. It's rock hard, but steel wins. They split the skull open, exposing the frozen brain inside. Tom hands the saw to Shin to try it himself. Brain fat helps make hides soft and flexible. 2 deer brains are enough to tan 3 hides. Before using it, they let it thaw naturally. While they wait, Tom works on a lynx hide. First, he scrapes off the top layer down to the skin underneath. During this step, you can't tear it at all. Tom works and explains as he goes. Once the key moves are clear, he lets the apprentice take over. Shin grips the scraper knife Tom has used for 35 years. He's nervous. He doesn't want to let his teacher down. Among big game furs, lynx is the hardest, less than 3 millimeters thick. For a beginner, it's brutal. He works carefully, but still slips. His shaking hand tears a hole. Tom smiles, sure he can fix it. Then another hole appears, and Tom stops smiling. Too many holes kills the value. To keep it from getting worse, he takes the job back and points out what to watch for. When they finish, they head home. By then, the skull has thawed. Tom scoops the brain into hot water, stirs until it melts. Art then carries the bucket outside to hang. He pulls up the soaked hide and slowly wrings out the water. No brute force. Too much, and the hide tears for good. To make sure Jin gets it, Tom stresses. You have to do each step by hand. That's how you learn the feel. They stretch the hide on a frame, and Tom stitches the holes with smooth, practiced moves, so clean you'd miss it if you blink. Next comes long smoking, hours of it, to brighten and seal the hide. Compared to raw hide, the value jumps 2 to 3 times. Next day, Tom calls Shin over. They're going beaver hunting. The Kootenai River is big and it doesn't freeze, even in the coldest weather. They pack their gear and travel 50 miles to the spot. For Tom, it's his first time here, but Shin grew up in the Yauk Valley. He knows it well. They launch the boat downstream, and Tom keeps glassing with binoculars, looking for beaver sign along the banks. But today, luck isn't on their side. No fresh sign anywhere. Now they push a few more miles, still no good spot to set a trap. Tom is confused. Where did the beavers go? Just as they're losing hope, they spot a fresh trail nearby, and logs in the river stripped clean of bark. All signs point to beavers living here. One lodge can hold over 10. Tom decides to set a foothold trap. Shin handles the trigger setup. Whether the beaver comes onto land or swims back, if it passes through here, it's getting caught. They run a steel cable from the trap to a metal stake. On the other end, they hang a heavy weight so an eagle can't steal the catch. To make it even stronger, Tom smears a special lure by the set, made from beaver castor glands. Then they keep moving downstream. Soon they find more logs half chewed. Tom pulls out a body grip trap. He stakes 2 sticks on both sides, then drives them into the ground so the trap sits underwater. Now it's just waiting for the animal to swim through. A few days later, they come back to check. Tom has a feeling it'll be a good day, but then he frowns. The river level dropped hard because an upstream dam is releasing less water, flow control upstream. That makes beaver traps much less effective, and about a quarter of Tom's yearly income depends on trapping beavers. If he fails, it's a heavy blow. At the first set, they beach the boat and see the trap sitting high and dry, empty. Tom resets it shut. Low water killed the odds. The set just won't work like this. They keep drifting, checking the rest. Fur prices are low this year, but it beats coming home empty-handed. At the second trap, they both start laughing. There's a beaver in it. Shin is blown away by his teacher's skill. A beaver handled by Tom can sell for up to $500. Seeing Shin's excited grin, Tom feels young again. With a strong start, their luck keeps rolling at the third trap. Even with the river down almost 2 feet, they catch another beaver. As long as beavers are still here, the rest gets easier. Back home with the catch, Tom gets to work. He fires up the stove, skins the beaver, and explains every step, like how the beaver tail can be used as a knife handle. Raw fur sold to a middleman brings maybe $15, but once Tom processes it, it can hit $500. That's the power of skill. After 6 weeks as an apprentice, Shin has learned a lot. Today is his first time running an abandoned beaver trapline on his own. Tom is watching closely. If Shin brings in fur, this season's take could double. Shin reaches the first set, but it's been sprung, and there's no animal. A bad feeling hits him. Is there a thief out here? He resets the trap and adds bait, then moves to the next spot. Shin wants to prove himself. He wants to help Tom turn a profit again. Then he stumbles onto a fresh kill site. From the sign, it's clearly a wolf pack. By the snow, it happened a day or two ago, and it's less than a mile from Tom's camp. That's a real threat. Wolves aren't something you ignore. Shin turns back fast to warn Tom. Tom's face drops, and he decides to go check the site himself. Wolves usually stay deep in the Rockies. They come down only when food is scarce, so Tom has to react and push them back. When they arrive, the deer isn't fully eaten, meaning the pack will likely return. Tom plans to set a few traps along the trail, so they go home for more gear. Lucky for them, Tom has a special state permit. Montana allows gray wolf hunting to control a growing population. A wolf's nose is insanely sharp, far beyond a human's, so they wear gloves and wrap the traps in plastic to avoid leaving human scent. They bring 2 trap sets and head back to the kill site. To cut their scent, they come in from the side. They dig a small bed in the trail and bury the trap deep. Then they cover it clean with snow. No matter how smart the wolves are, it's hard to beat a set like this. 2 traps go in fast. Next day, Tom comes back to check. Bad luck. A heavy snow hit overnight. The traps are basically ruined. When he gets there, the kill sign is gone and the traps are buried. He has no choice but to pull them. The fight between man and wolves isn't over. A few days later, Tom gets a new order. A customer wants a traditional reflex bow. Snakeskin wrap, animal sinus fluid rubbed on, draw weight around 40 pounds, enough to drop a deer. A Tom-made bow can sell for $1,000. The bow is done, but he still needs arrows. They have to be light and straight. Less drag means farther and faster flight. Locals use old-growth natural wood for shafts, the classic way. So Tom drives out to an abandoned homestead. Back in the 1990s, which the government once let settlers claim 160 acres here, work it for 5 years, and the land became yours. A lot of people moved into the Yaak Valley then. Most quit from loneliness and hunger. Only the tough ones lasted. This old house is one of the few left from that time. Wild rose bushes grow thick around it. The wood is light but insanely strong, perfect for arrow shafts. The stems are covered in sharp thorns, so Tom harvests carefully. Soon he has a bundle. Back home, he strips the bark to smooth the surface. The shafts aren't straight yet, so he heats them, dries the moisture, and softens the wood. After a bit, he starts bending them true, little by little. Slow work, over and over, until each shaft is dead straight. Next, Tom uses a specialty knife to size them all the same, then gives them a quick sand. After that, he uses a custom sandstone polishing tool, runs each shaft through the groove for a second polish. Now the thickness is more even. Next comes the design work. Tom paints red and black patterns on the shafts. That's his signature style. One look and people know it's Tom's work. He sets them by the window to dry. While they dry, he makes the fletching. He uses pheasant feathers. They keep the arrow flying straight. In flight, the fletching spins fast to stay balanced. Last step, mount the arrowhead. Tom lashes it tight to the shaft. Now the hunting weapon is complete. Good arrows need a quiver, so Tom cuts a rectangle of beaver fur, folds it, and stitches it up. Then flips it right side out and paints patterns on the fur side. Before long, the quiver is done. He loads in 6 arrows and steps outside to test. A few shots, just like he expected, stable and true. Tom looks satisfied with his work. Sometime later, Tom heads out to check his beaver traps. He's been losing money for 3 straight years, but now Shin is helping him. Shin runs a second trapline on his own, giving Tom more time and energy for other work. Tom has a gut feeling today will be a big haul. He walks about a mile along the river to the trap area. This spot is packed with willow trees, one of a beaver's favorite foods. What Tom can't wrap his head around is this. They mostly eat bark, yet they still get that fat and healthy. At the first set, he lifts the pole and sees a beaver in the trap. It looks about 1 or 2 years old, prime fur quality. This one's a real prize. He resets the trap and heads home. He drives the truck back loaded with fur, in a great mood. From far off, Nancy hears the engine and knows her husband is back. He can't hide his pride as he shows off the day's haul, and his wife praises him. Back at the house, they start carving willow branches. getting ready to make a craft piece from beaver hide, when Shin shows up carrying 2 more beavers. That's a full-on victory day. Tom is proud of his apprentice. Oh, he hasn't felt this kind of joy in a long time. Lately, trapping has taken all his time, so he hasn't been hunting. The freezer is out of meat, so teacher and student plan a big bison hunt. 50 miles north is bison country. No doubt perfect hunting ground. American bison are famous for being aggressive, ready to face wolves and mountain lions. They have almost no natural predators, but their peaceful life is about to get interrupted. One bison can give up to 500 pounds of meat, enough for Tom's family through summer. They glass the hills, but don't see any huge bodies yet. The herd can move 15 miles a day, so finding them in open wilderness isn't easy. Both carry loaded rifles and choose to track on foot. A good hunter reads terrain, wind, and water to guess where the herd will go. Tom has 35-plus years of experience. He quickly picks the direction, and not far in, they spot the herd stopped on a ridge. They freeze and glass them. Over 20 animals up ahead. A straight approach would spook them, so they swing wide from the side, acting like they're just passing through. From a better angle, the herd is clear. They whisper a quick plan and move in. No, the bison are built like tanks. It's honestly intimidating. Tom picks a younger bull as the target, less impact on the herd, and the meat is more tender. He moves fast to avoid the herd reacting, but as he brings the rifle up, another bull walks straight toward Tom. It's the herd's lookout, eyes wide, full of rage. Not the ideal target, but Tom has to shoot. The bull drops instantly. The rest of the herd panics and runs. Right then, the 2 hunters pause to thank nature's gift, but the herd suddenly comes back. Seeing trouble, they back off for now. They think the herd is coming to charge, but instead the bulls stop and start fighting each other. The main bull is dead, so other ambitious bulls step up, trying to claim the lead. Tom and Shin can only wait from a distance, rifles loaded, ready in case one bull charges. Tom is getting anxious. It's cold out, and if they don't work fast, the bison meat can spoil quickly, and gutting later becomes a nightmare. After about 20 minutes of hard fighting, it finally ends. Turns out the leader wasn't weak. He takes back control of the herd. Only then do Tom and Jin move in on the bison, and up close, oh, you really feel how massive it is. For Jin, it's his first animal this big. He's fired up. But the real work is just starting. Shin helps lift one leg, and Tom picks a softer cut to start. One deep stab, the knife slices through thick hide, then another cut, and a weird fluid blasts out, splashing Tom. It catches him off guard and raises the risk of spoilage. They have to speed up. Tom swings an axe hard, splitting the breastbone, 3 inches thick, then pulls the lungs. Next, they skin the bison. It goes faster than you'd think, and soon they have a huge hide. If old Tom tans it himself, it can sell for up to $1,000. Then they sort and bag the meat and haul it to the truck. Shin carries the load, Tom packs and stacks. When the last bison head is finally on the truck, they breathe out in relief. Both are satisfied. A successful hunt and a full haul. And they head home and don't even rest. Meat has to be preserved. They start processing the hide while it's still fresh. The raw bison hide is so heavy that even both of them struggle with it. For a hide this big, they need a large wooden frame, so they cut a few logs, build the frame, and lace the hide on bit by bit. Shin scrapes off the fat under the hide. All season long, he's learned a lot of old-school survival skills from Tom. But to truly master it, he knows he has to keep grinding. So one day he can pass it on to his kids. That's why he's deeply grateful to Tom. And Shin showing up also helps Tom break his long losing streak. In the end, the two of them finish the whole season in a clean, perfect way. The man snaps around into the chamber, aims at a wandering target up ahead, and fires. In the next moment, the massive animal drops. That much meat could feed him all winter. By helping the ranch owner drive off North American predators, he earns a living. So every day is busy and exciting. In Ruby Valley, Montana, raising livestock is the backbone of the economy. When winter hits, the mountain predators get hungry and start targeting the ranches. Jack is a predator control hunter, and he's the rancher's last line of defense. Right now he's tracking a mountain lion that's been circling the ranch. Following tracks, he finds a broken deer antler, likely part of a kill dragged off. He keeps trailing the sign and soon finds a dead elk, covered with snow and dirt. The lion plans to come back and feed. That means it's claiming this as territory. Jack also finds a bed site. The lion slept under a tree. After checking carefully, he realizes there are 2 lions, a male and a female. This time of year, they're aggressive, fighting hard over mating rights, not what Jack wanted, but once you commit, you act. He releases 3 hounds. Soon, barking echoes through the woods. As the sound gets closer, He spots the target, a young mountain lion treed. Jack moves in fast. The dogs are holding it hard. He sees it's a juvenile, and they're about 10 miles from the ranch, safe enough. Jack decides to find the second lion. Back on the snow, he finds fresh tracks and sends the dogs again. Soon the barking tells him the lion is treed again, but the tree is rotten. It snaps under the lion's weight. The cat crashes to the ground. The dogs rush in, and Jack jumps in to pull them back. The lions are protected by law. He can haze them, not kill them. The lion slips free and climbs another tree. Mission done, Jack calls the dogs off. Later, a bobcat moves onto ranch land, and Jack runs the dogs again. The hounds bay below the tree. When Jack steps in, the bobcat bails out and the chase starts again. He's pushed this same bobcat off 4 times already. Enough is enough. He follows tracks but needs to end it fast. One dog is injured and needs a vet. The other 2 are still chasing. Jack's tense. Then he hears hard barking. He rushes in. The bobcat is treed again, eyes wide, almost pleading. Point made. He praises the dogs and chains them back to stop further attack. Under the helpless stare of the cat, Jack leads the hounds away, loads them into the truck, but the engine won't start. He rolls it downhill, tries again and again. Finally, the engine catches. He drives straight to the vet. Once there, he carries the dog inside. After 2 vets check it, they decide the injury isn't serious. It won't affect movement. A few stitches and antibiotics will do the job. The hound is smart and calm. During the shots, it doesn't cry or fight. After that, Jack lays it on the surgery table so the vet can stitch the wound. He watches, feeling sick with worry. A few minutes later, the procedure goes great, but the dog needs a few weeks of rest at home. Jack plans to cook some meat to help it recover, but he realizes his meat stash is running low. He drops what he's doing, grabs his hunting rifle, and heads deep into the mountains. The season is almost over. Not many chances left. Good thing Jack knows these mountains well. He knows where game likes to move. Today's target, a bull elk. He glasses the slopes, since elk often bunch up high on the ridges. His plan is to start up top, then scan down. It works fast. He spots a big herd, but it's still too far. He has to close the distance to make the shot. Elk are way bigger than deer, so dropping one could carry Jack through winter. One animal is enough, but mountain lions and wolves have the herd on edge. They're jumpy and alert. One small sound, and they move. Jack sees mountain lion tracks in the snow. He also notices one elk peeled off, coming down from the ridge. Probably got hit by a lion, so Jack gets even more careful. He crawls low and slips into range. Right as he lifts the rifle, the lone elk springs up. It smells danger and bolts. No time to hesitate. Jack fires. The first shot misses. Lucky! Some elk haven't cleared out yet, and he gets a second chance. He snaps back on target and shoots again. A massive body drops. Now the rest of the herd wakes up and scatters. Jack stays calm and walks in. This elk could give around 400 pounds of meat, so he has to work fast. Blood scent can pull in a mountain lion. That's deadly. He takes the hindquarters and cuts out the best backstrap. Too much for one haul, it'll take 2 trips to the truck. Daylight is running out, and night is when predators move. So Jack hangs the meat in a tree and goes back for the next load. By the time dark falls, he grinds back to the tree. He pitches a tent nearby and builds a fire. He's starving after the long day. Coal-roasted elk is the best reward, worth every step. Then he hears strange sounds, something stalking nearby. Jack grabs the rifle and heads back to the tree to protect the meat. Good news. Everything's still there. He scans with a flashlight. He knows he heard something, but he can't spot it. So he heads back, feeds the fire more wood, keeps it roaring. With a gun in hand and fire as a wall, no animal wants to push in. After one tense night, morning comes. Jack has guarded his prize. Now he has to haul it to the truck, and the truck is 6 miles out. First trip, about 200 pounds of meat. It takes about 2 hours, but moving that kind of weight is brutal. And then the weather flips. A small snowstorm hits out of nowhere. Jack gets caught with no time to adjust. Snow piles up fast. The trail turns slick. The temp drops more than 10 degrees. He grimaces with every step. Visibility is down to about 20 feet. If something charges, he won't have time to react. Nerves up, Jack has to push the pace. It takes longer than planned, and he's still got the last 5 kilometers to go. Even drained, he grits his teeth. He needs to reach the truck before dark. No choice. To save time, Jack takes a dangerous shortcut. He fights through one obstacle after another, until only one barrier is left. The truck is down below a cliff. Now the real problem? A steep drop. He takes off his pack and throws it down first to lighten up. Without the load, the climb is safer. Jack uses hands and boots to cling to the rock and makes it down clean. Then he grabs his pack. This hunt ends about as perfect as it gets. In the remote Ozark Mountains, there's a man named Jason, a blacksmith. He makes a living forging knives. Last year, his family welcomed their second baby girl, and money got tight. To cut costs, he decides to pull iron straight from nature. After asking around, he learns of a spot with iron ore. Following the directions, he finds a cave, clicks on his headlamp, and steps inside. The terrain is nasty and confusing. Only one tight crack drops deeper. Jason hesitates for a second, but he didn't come all this way to leave empty-handed, so he squeezes in. Bad start. He gets stuck. He takes a deep breath and forces his shoulders through inch by inch. Down below, the space opens up, bigger than expected. An underground stream cuts through it. Water keeps dripping off the rock, making the sealed-in darkness feel even creepier. Jason looks for iron oxide ore, rust-red stone colored by time. What he's holding is proof, but it's too small to use. Still, it shows this cave has a rich mineral lode. Not long after, he spots bigger ore chunks under the water, way larger than before. That's a good sign. So Jason pushes deeper into the rock crack, but the gap is too tight. He can't squeeze through. He decides to use black powder and set a charge. The blast booms through the whole cave. He moves in to check. Now the opening is wide enough, and iron ore is everywhere. Good-sized chunks. In minutes, he picks up a few pieces. But to turn ore into steel, he has to burn off the junk and keep the good stuff. Only then do you get clean metal. Jason needs at least 50 pounds of ore. Right now he's got about 20 pounds. Deeper in, the tunnel gets tighter. Loose rock starts falling, so he has to watch every step. Then trouble. His foot jams in a crack. It takes a long time to yank it free. His boot tears open. He uses copper wire like thread and stitches it up. A quick fix, then keeps moving. Down here, the underground world is loaded with resources. After scouting around, he finds a big iron vein in the corner of the cave. He starts gathering it, hit 50 pounds, and he can head home. This haul is enough to run his first smelt test. Not long after, a new kid joins the household. Chloe, the son of Jason's wife from her previous marriage. He lived down south with his mom, but he wants to learn the trade from dad, so he comes here. At 13, it's a key age to learn fast, so today Jason decides to build a smelter furnace to pull metal out of iron ore. If it works, he could save a few $1,000s a year. He's already built a basic wood frame for the furnace. For the temporary outer shell, Mary coats it with a homemade mix, 70% sand, 30% clay, plus a bit of moss to help it bind and hold. Mary teaches him patiently, telling him to press out every air bubble. If air stays trapped, heat can make it blow. One pop can ruin the whole build. After a lot of work, the clay structure is finally done. But the weather turns fast. The temp drops hard, a storm's coming. Normally, it needs 48 hours to air dry, but rain will wreck it. So Jason chooses forced heat to dry it quicker. He fires up a torch and burns wood around it, heating the furnace evenly from all sides. He tries to keep the heat balanced. Too much heat too fast will crack the clay. At first, it looks fine. Then, crack. A split opens at the bottom. Jason knows he rushed it. He heated it hard before it could adjust. The clay couldn't take it. More cracks start to show. He pulls out some wood fast, trying to stop it from getting worse. Mary steps in, studies the cracks, frowning. From experience, she says it's just the outer coat cracking. The core structure is still solid. Minutes pass, seconds crawl. The fire's been burning for 3 straight hours. Good news. The cracks don't spread. They can move to the next step. Jason packs charcoal into the furnace, then torches the wood frame inside, adding more fuel and roaring the fire up. More suddenly, boom! They both flinch. Air pockets trapped in the clay flash heated and popped like a small explosion, so they have to back off and keep a safe distance. Watching his son hustle and work, Jason feels truly relieved, and the smelter is coming together almost perfectly. The next day, they start the real test. First, they crush the iron ore into smaller pieces, then mix ore dust with charcoal 1-to-1 and dump it into the burning furnace. Jason controls the airflow, pushing enough oxygen to hit about 2,000 degrees. Looking through the vent hole, he sees the smelt running the right way. Now it's just a waiting game. After 6 hours, it's in the final stage. If it works, they'll get a soft, spongy bloom of iron. But timing the pull is everything. If they don't dump the impurities within seconds, once the heat drops, the whole run fails. Jason opens a drain slot, hoping slag will pour out like lava, but nothing comes out. He starts to panic. He tries to clear the outlet and finds a big chunk of ore blocking it. After several tries, a little thick sludge finally drips out. This is the make-or-break moment. So Jason smashes the furnace open and a huge slag lump rolls out. He pounds it hard with a hammer, but it's not looking good. Too much waste in the mix, so it's a failure. All that work goes down the drain. A few days pass, he resets his head, then gets back to work. He wants to forge a few knives, but he's out of steel, so he heads into the woods for scrap. Earlier, he found an old machine abandoned above ground, but it was too heavy to haul back. Today, he brings proper cutting tools. The spot is far from the road. He has to cross a ravine and hike about a mile in. When he gets there, it's still intact, and it's high-carbon steel, perfect knife material. He uses a torch to cut the joints, the heat softens the steel, and a few light taps pop it loose. Next, he goes to cut the wheel linkage, but after 10 minutes, the torch dies. Both gas bottles are empty. No choice. He has to go old school. He hacks at the bolts with a hacksaw. No shortcuts, just grind and grind. Halfway through, he switches to a hammer. After a bunch of hits, the bolt finally drops. Now he can drag the whole steel chunk home. On flat ground, it's already brutal, but he won't quit. He pushes fast through the trees until the terrain turns nasty. Climbing uphill is where it really hits. That 200-pound steel block suddenly feels like a ton. His face goes red, lungs on fire. He grinds up the slope, then comes the downhill. Now the danger spikes. After getting beaten up non-stop, he reaches the last stretch, the steepest and worst part. He rests a minute, then bites down and climbs step by step. He knows it'll take everything to reach the motorcycle. From there, it's easier. He chains the wheel to the bike and rides out. A week later, Jason starts teaching Chloe blacksmithing. In his hands is an old knife full of memories. Back then, Jason's dad served with the army in Vietnam for 7 years, and before he left, the locals gifted him this knife. Even today, the design is still finely made, so Jason decides to forge a new one based on that pattern. His main material is the steel he hauled back earlier. 1 bar is enough. He cuts it in half, then tosses the scrap steel into the forge. When it's glowing red, he pulls it out with his son. Each grabs a hammer and they start forging. Even under high heat, the metal takes a new shape. It's slow work and it takes patience. They have to reheat it again and again, then hammer until a blade blank forms. After a while, the tip is almost done. Next comes shaping the spine. Seeing his son just standing there, Jason tells him to work the bellows to push more air so the forge runs hotter. In no time, the steel is bright red again, and father and son trade off hammer blows. But trouble hits. A crack shows up near the back of the spine. If they don't fix it fast, the whole blade is ruined. Jason scrubs the steel clean with a wire brush, knocking off scale. Chloe brings over a material made mostly of borax. Packed into the crack while it's hot, it helps the split weld back together. Now it's the critical moment. Jason hammers in a steady rhythm to save the blade. The flaw in the spine slowly flattens out, showing the skill of a seasoned smith. Next comes the quench. He plunges the red-hot steel into oil to cool it fast and harden the structure. It's also a test. If the steel has hidden defects, it can crack during cooling. But the worst doesn't happen. Then he fits a wooden handle, local walnut, with a brass collar. A clean, sharp knife is born. Looks good and cuts even better. Jason slices meat with it, and the results are unreal. Chloe watches, wide-eyed and impressed. That night, the whole family roasts chicken to celebrate. Sometime later, Jason thinks back to his first failed steel smelt, all that wasted time and sweat. It still eats at him, so he goes for round 2. He cuts the furnace down to half size. Last time, he couldn't dump slag in time, so this time, he adds a brick door as a drain. To save precious ore, he uses cheap scrap instead. He waits until the first iron bar melts, then adds the second one to stretch the heat time. That helps the iron soak up more carbon and stay tougher, but if he cooks it too long, it turns brittle. When he pulls the smelted mix and quenches it in water, the outside doesn't show much. Much so, he cuts it open to check. Inside, it looks like high-carbon steel, but it still has air pockets, meaning it's not dense enough, likely from overheating too long. Right after that, he runs a second trial, now with more confidence. He keeps feeding charcoal into the furnace, waits for the fire to roar, then drops in the first iron bar. More charcoal. Then the second bar goes in, and he stirs, mixing iron and carbon. When the timing is right, Jason pulls the red-hot brick, hooks out a lump of mixed steel through the door, and drops it into water for a fast cool. The chunk looks solid, heavy, tight, and strong. He feels success is close. After brushing the surface clean, Jason sees only a few air pockets, and the grain is tight and dense. This is real high-carbon steel. His mood lifts fast. Now he can start making steel for real. He works with a 2-to-1 mix, carbon to iron, to get the steel he needs for knife blades. All the charcoal he uses, he makes himself. If he can smelt steel straight from ore, he'll save a huge chunk of money on materials, thousands of dollars a year. Right then, trouble hits again. The brick is jammed and won't budge. In an emergency, Jason drives an iron rod down from the top and stirs hard. He finds the steel lump inside, hooks it out, and starts forging right away. By feel alone, he knows this steel is heavy, solid, and strong. It's exactly the kind he's been chasing. From here on out, Jason's blacksmith work is about to level up for good. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next exciting survival videos. Finally, share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next adventure.